بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back to the Tajweed rules of Al-Qur'an Al-Kareem. After completing parts 1, 2 and 3, Alhamdulillah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we will be starting part 4, Read with Tajweed. This is the intermediate to advanced level. At this level, inshallah, we will study the various rules of Tajweed with examples from the Qur'an. Part 4, Read with Tajweed. This level, the students will start to add beauty to the recitation by learning fundamental rules of Tajweed, especially the nasal sounds. This level, we are focused not on how to read Qur'an, but how to beautify your recitation. Therefore, the prerequisite for this part would be to have watched my previous lessons in parts 1, 2 and 3. You should have knowledge of the articulation points of the letters and the sifat, so you should be articulating your letters correctly at this stage, and you should also be reading correctly. So you should have the knowledge of Hamzat al-Wasl, when to pronounce it, when to skip it, Lam Shamsiya, Lam Qamariya, when to pronounce, when to merge the Lam, and also how to read the Shadda correctly, and the timing of sakin letters. All that knowledge, inshallah, if you have, then inshallah this part will be very beneficial for you, and you can start to beautify your recitation by learning these rules from this part. Before we begin this part, let's remind ourselves of why we are learning Tajweed and the beautiful outcome and the honored outcome of learning Tajweed. Scholars of Tajweed say Tajweed is to pronounce every letter from its correct place and to give its rights. So what are the outcomes of learning Tajweed? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects the Qur'an. As we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Surah Al-Hijr, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Indeed, it is we who sent down the Qur'an, and indeed we will be its guardian. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses us to protect the kitab through Tajweed, hifz of words and meaning, which have been passed down through preserved chains of narrations starting from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, if Allah has honored you to learn Tajweed, to recite the Qur'an with Tajweed, He is using you to protect His book. Subhanallah, what an honor. Also, are protecting our tongue from making mistakes. The other outcome is that it's the protection of the tongue from mistakes. And of course, al-ajr, the reward a person will find in this world and the next, inshaAllah. Bismillah. So in this part, the following rules will be covered. Al-Gunnah, the nasalization, the that comes from the khayshum, and that is connected to some letters. We will inshallah look at the rulings regarding this Gunnah, inshallah. We will also look at حروف التفخيم والترقيق, which are the heavy and light letters. We looked at the heavy letters when we looked at the sifat of حروف, and we saw that there are 7 heavy letters. We'll cover that again, inshallah, go over that again. But we will also look at the letters which are not permanently heavy. They are heavy or full mouth in certain conditions. Those letters are Alif, Lam, Ra. So this is the heading, and these, inshallah, Alif, Lam, Ra, will have their own subheadings, and we will look at each letter individually, inshallah, and their rulings, inshallah. We will look at احكام النون الساكنة والتنوين, non-voweled noon and tanween rules. There are 4 in this category, inshallah, and we will study them individually under this heading. We'll also look at احكام, الميم, الساكنة, the non-voweled meem rules. There's 3 under this heading, inshallah we will study. احكام اللام الساكنة, and this is the non-voweled laam rules. We covered laam التعريف, which was the definite article al, but inshallah there's 2 more rulings that we will look at under this heading, inshallah. We will also cover the Qalqalah mechanism, القلقلة, and المدود, which are the lengthenings. And there are various different mudud that come under this heading. So, inshallah, we will look at each one in a separate lesson in more detail, inshallah. We will also cover the grades, levels of Gunnah, مراتب الغنة. We will look at the grades or levels of Tafkeem, the letters, the grades, so when it's the heaviest and when it's the lightest. مراتب التفخيم. And also we look at the other types of idghaam, the merging, inshallah. And inshallah, we will also be looking at some finishing touches, some other concepts such as the 7 kinds of Alif, the prostration during recitation, seen above and below the letter is Sad, so some exception rules as well, inshallah. So all these topics will be discussed, inshallah, will be taught, maybe not in the same order, but they will be taught, inshallah. So inshallah we'll meet until the next lesson. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.